Hey y'all, so what I said earlier, I'm gonna prevent from all kinds of bad bugs on my plants and powdery mildew and any kind of fungus that may be on the plant itself. I get a lot of powdery mildew here because of the moisture in the morning, and then I don't know, I just kind of mildews on the plant. And so you'll kind of see that. I don't have a good example, but basically, just give you an idea. A plant like this would start getting frosty white on the top and or the bottom, and eventually what that ends up doing is that ends up blocking out the sun, and so this plant can't photosynthesis. It can't take in any sunlight, any nutrients from the sun, and then it will just be stunted. It will be tall, spindly, or it'll just die completely. So the best thing to do is to prevent that from happening is using a horticultural oil and also a copper fungicide. That will smother the fungus itself, and it will also kill off any aphids or anything like that. So I try to do this at least once a month. I try to get it on my fertilizer cycle, and today is one of my fertilizer cycles. So I'm gonna spray for any fungus or any aphids or anything like that, and also too, the cutworms too. So those are actually moths. Moths fly around, they land on the plant that they like, and they lay their eggs. The eggs hatch, and then little baby green worms come out and they start devouring and feasting. This is their salad bar. They start eating your plant. So to prevent that from happening, I'm going to show you what I do. It helps me, it works for me. So I just have one of these regular basic sprayers. This is a 1 gallon. And so what I do is I do 2 ounces of the copper fungicide, and it's blue. It's like this really cool turquoise blue. And in the same container and using the same measuring cup, I do another 2 ounces of the copper fungicide. Always keep all of your stuff, all your tools clean and everything, and so clean that off. Give it a good shake, pump it up, and start spraying. So here's a good example. This is an apple tree that I have in a pot. This is it's not a very good fruit. It's not a good apple, I should say. But it does have sentimental values to me, and my wife does. This is something that her grandma gave us, and it was a little baby tree. It was a clipping off of her tree, and so we keep it for sentimental values. The apple itself are really small, and they're like kind of yellow with a little bit of pink on top of them, but they taste like foam. The meat is not very good, and they're not very sweet either. So again, once it fruits, I usually just throw it over the slope, because the other side right here is the slope that I'm always in. This side is the dog run, and then back there is the backyard. And so what I do is I normally just douse this entire tree. So you want to cover it from head to toe. And so I have it on the fan setting. There's also stream or cone. Whenever I want to spray underneath a leaf, and if a plant has a lot of leaves, I'll use the cone setting, which is just the full spray. But when I'm covering and saturating a tree that doesn't have very many leaves, or even a plant with not very many leaves, I mostly use the fan setting. I usually start from the bottom, work my way up, and again, I just want to totally saturate this entire tree. What this is going to do is, if any insect laid its eggs, the eggs will get smothered and they'll just end up dying. So this is something that you should be doing at least twice a year. It's always good to do this before the tree goes, once all the leaves fall off. That's my rule of thumb. Once the leaves fall off, I spray it, and then once the leaves start to come back, once they start to bud up, then I spray it again. I'm a little behind, obviously. It's already got a bunch of leaves on it, but better late than sorry. This is another good example. So all of these holes in this sweet potato vine, even things like that, this is an insect. Insects are eating this, and I don't like that. So if you spray it, prevents that. Just make sure it's totally saturated. Swan-neck agaves don't need any protection. They're totally fine. They're self-sufficient. This right here, this is like a cabbage looking succulent, and it has really cool leaves, but look at what happened. It got all damaged. It got some kind of fungus on it. It got some kind of powdery mildew, and I was late to getting to it. But I did spray it. I sprayed it a couple of months ago, and look at all this new growth already. It was full. All of these leaves were damaged, so I had to remove all the leaves, and I kept these just in case. I was hoping they would come back, but they were too far along. But look at that. This is coming back to life, all because I sprayed it with this horticultural oil. And so I'm going to go ahead and spray it again. And again, I don't want to leave any dry on anything that I'm spraying. I want to get it totally saturated, so that if there is any fungus on there, it's going to kill it. If there are any bug eggs, it's going to kill it. If there are any aphids, it's going to kill it. It's another good example right here. These are Gomphrena. This is second year Gomphrena. They just don't look healthy. So I think something's on them, some kind of fungus. So I already sprayed these, but I'm going to give them another spritz. Kind of douse them. You can't overdo it because this is horticultural oil and food grade copper fungicide, and it's safe for pets, it's safe for the plant, it's bad for the insects, and it's bad for fungus. Here's another example. So this tree, I've already sprayed it, but basically you just want to soak the tree stump, because what insects do is they'll hide in these crevices. And they will lay their eggs, and the eggs will be safe inside of these crevices until they hatch. They hatch, they go up inside the tree, and then they fly away, and then they start eating your garden. It's their own personal salad bar. Here's another example. This is hollyhock, and a hollyhock for me gets powdery mildew, and it also gets rust underneath. So look at this. That's rust. So underneath, it's a fungus. So if you ever see any of these brown marks underneath the leaf, it starts pitting the plant, and then eventually the whole thing starts to die. It looks really thin and sparse. So if you see these, this is rust. Spray it, remove it. Ideally, you should remove anything that's damaged like this, but if you start to see it, catch it before it spreads too far, and eventually it'll go away. This is where you want to get underneath the leaf. You don't want to just get the top of the leaf, you want to saturate the entire thing. This is a dahlia. I don't know what color this is. This is one of my seedlings that I started last year. This is its second year. I had 250 dahlia seeds that I started last year. A lot of them survived. I want to say maybe around 90 to 100 survived. but I only ended up getting about maybe 50 that I liked. So I ended up pulling out the ones that I didn't like and giving them away. I don't know if you could see that, but look at that shine on this leaf. That's snail damage. And you see that slimy stuff or that shiny sheen? That's either a slug or a snail. They just kind of crawled all over this, had a salad feast, and took off. This doesn't prevent from snails and slugs, but as you can see, there's some more of that rust that I was talking about earlier. So get rid of that. But look at this. That's insect damage. So that could be a multitude of bugs. That could be slug, snail, could be pill bug, it could be pincher bugs, it could be leaf cutters, it could be anything, but that's why I spray. I don't want those guys eating my plants. This is a pincushion flower or bachelor button. It's this really cool lavender looking flowers next to lavender. But right now it has a ton of aphids all over it. So aphids, again, they suck the nutrients out of the flower, preventing it from growing to its full capacity, and eventually it just spindles out and dies. So aphids, bad insect. This is the Boom Boom Chilada White Pom Pom Dahlia. Snails, slugs love these plants. Again, this is a drought tolerant plant and it does need water. It doesn't like a lot of water. The tubers will rot out. This is year 2 of this dahlia plant. I get these really cool white pom-poms out of them. And there are 2 dahlia plants here. One, well there's 3 actually, but this is 2 Boom Boom Chilada Whites. One here, one here. This one is a Desertland Princess, I think. It's pink and white, but it's not a pom-pom dahlia, which means it's not a ball looking flower. Zinnias especially. All of these zinnias usually will be covered in powdery mildew, but since I've been on top of it with my regimen, they're surviving. I don't see any powdery mildew. All of these zinnias I planted directly into the ground from a seed right next to the drip line emitter. And they get just enough water to get them started. Zinnias do not like water. This salvia plant always gets powdery mildew as well. Another drought tolerant plant. Does not like a lot of water. Just because it's drought tolerant doesn't mean it doesn't need water, and doesn't mean that you can go days without watering it. You still should water at least once or twice a week. My water cycle is on, I think, for 5 minutes every other day. This is the 4th year for this salvia plant, and it just keeps coming back year over year. All right, budworms and caterpillars, this is what I use. It's called Thuricide BT Caterpillar Control. And so what I do is I put it in one of my little like handheld spray bottles, because I don't really need to spray a bunch with this, but this does keep the caterpillar budworms down. I've had this for a couple of years. It's still working, so that's a good thing. And what I do is I just fill this up to the line and put in 1 tablespoon of this. And again, this is safe for bees. This is safe for bugs. Safe for bees. It's safe for animals. It's not safe for caterpillars. I do have a bunch of beneficial insects in here in my garden. So I do have bees and bumblebees and lots of praying mantis. We get ladybugs. We get dragonflies. We get all kinds of beneficial insects in here. But this only kills budworms or caterpillars. Whenever you see little holes in your plants, when you see little holes in your leaves, or even in your buds, the little, like the flower before it buds up, that's why they're called budworms. They go in there and they eat the tender petals and the bud of the flower before it even blooms. And when it does bloom, if it blooms, it'll have all these holes in it, and just, it's ugly, and so you throw it away. I just sprayed this with the horticultural oil and copper fungicide, but it's already dry because it's kind of warm out. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to spray it for budworms, because that's what these little holes are. You know, again, budworms are moths that lay their eggs on the plant, and then they go to town eating. This you can really spray the top, because what happens is when the budworm starts to ingest this, the bacteria that budworms don't like or can't digest, it goes through their body and then it kills them. I only spray this on things that need it. In your garden, you'll start to know what needs it and what doesn't. For example, these ornamental crane cabbage. Sorry, I keep calling these cabbage, but these are ornamental crane kale. They get eaten by bugs like crazy. So just give these a good dousing. I didn't need to spray these with horticultural oil or fungicide because they do pretty well on their own. Unlike this hollyhock, I did spray because it started to get rust. But do you see this one right here? Look at that. That's budworm damage. That's what you're looking for. If left alone, the whole thing would be covered in holes. It would be Swiss cheese. This could be used on your fruits as well, because budworms do start to eat like apples, tender fruits, and it's safe for you to eat. All right, time to fertilize. So right now it's the beginning of spring, so you know how I love Biotone starter fertilizer. This is for transplanting. This is for starting the roots when you transplant into the ground or into a pot. Once you've done that, you know, you want to start increasing your fertilizer with fish emulsion. This will promote more root growth as well. So it's 511. And that's the fish emulsion that I use once a month for all of my plants. I have it on a rotation. Once it starts to bud, or once the plant gets about, I don't know, 6 to 12 inches tall, I stop with this, and then I start fertilizing with something that's going to promote buds, promote flowers. So we're promoting root growth, and then eventually we will start to promote flowers. So this is 2 tablespoons per gallon of water, and this is a 2-gallon pitcher. And so I'm just going to put 4 tablespoons in here. I think I lost count, but I think that was 4. If it's a little over, it's not a big deal. So you give it a little stir. And I like to direct water. So I walk around with a smaller watering can and this big one that holds all of the fertilizer. That way I can directly water what I actually need to water, or I'm not just willy-nilly spilling it everywhere.